Imagine being born as one of the smallest wild cats on Earth. Not small like cute kitten. Small like the forest can lose you by accident, the food chain can step over you, and a beetle can look at you with way too much confidence. Your life begins in a narrow crack between rocks, hidden under dry leaves and roots. Your mother chose this den because the entrance is tight enough to block a jackal, too cramped for a fox, and useless for most animals planning to turn you into a warm snack. Excellent real estate. Terrible neighborhood. Inside that stone apartment is you. A rusty-spotted cat kitten, blind, deaf, almost weightless, and barely more useful than a wet cotton ball. Congratulations. You have spawned into the wild on Please Restart Game mode. Adult rusty-spotted cats usually weigh only about 1 to 2 kilograms. Their body length is roughly 35 to 48 centimeters, plus another 20 to 25 centimeters of tail. A full-grown predator can still look like something a child would pick up and name Mr. Biscuit. And you are not even full-grown. You are the beta version. For the first days, your world is only darkness, milk, warmth, and your mother's body curled around you like a security system made of fur. You cannot see danger, hear danger, or walk away from danger with dignity. Mostly, you wiggle. Very brave, assuming the enemy is a napkin. Your mother may be small, but she is not soft. She is a silent little weapon with rusty spots, night eyes, sharp claws, and the patience of an animal that has spent every day being one mistake away from becoming someone else's protein. She cleans the den because smell is a message, moves quietly because sound is a confession, and keeps you hidden because movement in this forest is basically a public announcement that says, free baby meat inside, but milk does not generate itself, so one night, she slips out to hunt. Now it is just you and your sibling inside a rock crevice while the night outside starts reading the menu. Rodents scratch under dry leaves. Snakes slide through grass like living shoelaces. Owls rotate their heads with the calm energy of surveillance cameras. Somewhere nearby, a jackal lowers its nose and scans the ground like it opened a food delivery app. You know none of this, which is good. If you understood your situation, you would request a different body plan. After nearly 2 weeks, your eyes begin to open. The world arrives in blurry pieces, pale light, moving shadows, your mother's face, and the den entrance glowing like a doorway into problems. By about 1 month old, you begin leaving the den, just far enough to discover the first law of childhood. Everything is bigger than you. A leaf is big. A beetle is big. Your own paws look suspiciously overqualified. Then a bird lands nearby with wings, a beak, and the smug attitude of a creature that can leave the ground whenever life becomes inconvenient. Your mother moves ahead, low and silent. You follow with the grace of a tiny drunk carpet. Your legs disagree about direction, your tail has no job description, and every few steps, the forest publicly humiliates you. This is not hunting yet. This is a software update with pause. Your mother teaches without giving a TED talk. She crouches, you crouch. She freezes, you freeze. She places one paw down slowly, and you place one paw directly onto a twig, loud enough to alert the district. Then something rustles. A fox appears. Not a tiger, not a monster, just a fox. But to a kitten your size, a fox is basically a wolf with better marketing. Your body has 3 emergency settings. First, freeze. You flatten into the ground and become a rusty-colored leaf with anxiety, because predators often notice movement before shape. The fox sniffs, pauses, and for one glorious second, invisibility works. Second, run. Not a heroic run, a pure panic launch. Your muscles release stored tension like tiny compressed springs, throwing your body forward so suddenly the fox probably thinks the forest lagged. Your paws hit soil, leaves, and stone. Your tail corrects turns before your brain finishes screaming. You are not built to overpower danger. You are built to vanish from it. Third, hide somewhere insulting. A crack between rocks, a hollow under roots, or any space so narrow that a predator can only stare into it like geometry personally betrayed him. That is the useful part of being snack-sized. Many things can eat you, but fewer things can follow you into your ridiculous little emergency tunnel. Over the next weeks, your mother pushes you into hunting practice. Your first targets are insects, tiny frogs, and small lizards. In theory, these should be easy. In reality, you are a baby predator with the coordination of a dropped spoon. A lizard freezes on a rock. You stalk closer, leap with full commitment, and collide with the stone after the lizard vanishes into a crack. Excellent confidence. No food. Baby predators are terrible prototypes. They learn by failing at things that want to escape, so your mother keeps bringing prey, sometimes whole, sometimes in pieces, because even eating apparently needs tutorial mode. This is where science starts doing its job. Your eyes sharpen in low light. Your ears catch tiny movements under leaves. Your whiskers become a measuring system for darkness. And your paws learn silence. The forest floor is a traitor. Dry leaves act like alarms. Twigs are betrayal sticks. Loose pebbles roll at the worst moment. But your soft, narrow foot pads spread your weight and reduce sound, letting you cross dry ground without announcing yourself like a tourist in a plastic raincoat. By 6 months old, you are no longer helpless. Still tiny, let's not get delusional, but faster, sharper, and much more convinced that the forest owes you respect. Your instincts are switching you into solo mode because rusty-spotted cats are not group project animals. They live alone, hunt alone, and solve problems through stealth, scent, and occasionally violence. So one day, you leave. No emotional goodbye, just tiny paws carrying a predator smaller than a house cat into the undergrowth like a rebellious teenager with claws. Then you begin marking territory. You rub your face on branches, scratch bark, and spray important locations. Humans use contracts, you use smell. Honestly, your system is harder to forge. Funny, but necessary. At your size, even winning a fight can be expensive. A bitten paw or swollen leg can make hunting impossible, and if you cannot hunt, your career as a wild animal ends quickly. Daylight becomes hiding time. You sleep in thickets, hollow logs, rock gaps, or places so boring that predators do not check them. Then dusk arrives, the air cools, and your real work begins. Rusty-spotted cats are mainly nocturnal. Behind your retina is a reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum, which bounces light back through the eye and helps cats use low light more efficiently. To a human, the forest at night is a wall of black. To you, it is not safe, but it is readable. A mouse shifts near a root. Your ears rotate. Your whiskers map the space. You lower your body. Grass becomes cover. A fallen branch becomes a wall. A shadow becomes a hallway. You launch. Claws pin. Teeth close. The mouse kicks once, then stops. Dragging it back is awkward because the meal is embarrassingly large compared to your head. But that is part of the brand. You are not a mighty beast of legend. You are a tiny criminal with excellent equipment. And the diet data backs up your rodent obsession. In one study from Sanjay Gandhi National Park in Mumbai, researchers found rodent remains in about 95% of rusty-spotted cat scat samples. This is why you matter. You are not cute forest decoration. You are a rodent control system with whiskers. When small predators disappear, rodents can multiply, damage crops, spread disease, and behave like they own the ecosystem. But your story gets stranger when we rewind evolution. Most cats follow the obvious career path: get bigger, stronger, louder, and scarier. Become a leopard, become a tiger. Walk into a clearing and make everyone's blood pressure file a complaint. Your ancestors looked at that plan and said, "No thanks. What if we became harder to notice?" So while larger cats fought over deer and open hunting grounds, your branch moved into the leftovers. Thorn scrub, rocky gaps, tangled roots, dense grass, and microspaces that bigger hunters could not use properly. Not glamorous, but effective. A smaller body needs less food, slips into narrower shelters, climbs thinner branches, moves through dense vegetation, and hides where bigger animals only get stuck and lose dignity. But every strategy comes with a bill. You cannot scare away jackals, overpower dogs, or afford long open chases. If a larger predator sees you clearly, the conversation becomes short and mostly one-sided. So adult life becomes a strict equation. Stay hidden, spend little energy, hunt at the right hours, choose prey you can handle, avoid unnecessary fights, and repeat until old age or disaster. During monsoon season, low ground floods, frogs yell like they have never heard of predators. Insects erupt from hidden nests, and winged termites rise after heavy rain like someone opened an airborne snack bag. You shift to higher ground and work the buffet. It is not elegant, but hunger does not care about elegance. Some nights, you move near farms and villages. Risky but profitable. Grain stores attract rodents, rodents attract you. Suddenly, the edge of a human settlement becomes a 2-4-hour snack bar with worse lighting. You slip under fences, along walls, and through weeds near houses, killing mice that would chew crops and contaminate food. To humans, the darkness looks empty. In reality, a tiny spotted pest control employee is working night shift without asking for payment, benefits, or basic respect. Unfortunately, humans are not famous for noticing useful invisible things. They may blame you for poultry losses, set traps, leave poison for rodents, or let dogs roam loose. You might be solving one problem while walking directly into 3 new ones. Then breeding season changes the schedule. You roam farther, leave scent more often, and vocalize more than your usual silence permits. Somewhere nearby, another rusty-spotted cat reads your chemical dating profile. Courtship is brief, chases through grass, tail signals, cautious approaches, and mutual tolerance, which in your species is basically romance. After repeated mating over several days, both animals return to solitary life. Nature completes the paperwork, then immediately cancels the meeting. If you are female, the next stage is harder. After about 65 to 69 days of pregnancy, you search for a den with one rule. If a predator can find it, your kittens die. Your litter is small, usually 1 to 3 kittens, because your body is not built for luxury production. The newborns are blind, helpless, and soft, exactly like you were. Now your mother's caution makes sense. The cleaning, the silence, the hidden den, and the painful need to leave babies alone while hunting because staying beside them does not produce food. Motherhood in your world is not warm background music. It is stealth management. You watch them fail exactly the way you failed. Then failure becomes coordination. Coordination becomes hunting, and hunting becomes survival. You are alone again, a solitary specialist, a hidden rodent hunter, a small piece of balance moving through the dark while the world barely notices. But then the world begins to change. At first, it is only a distant mechanical growl. Birds burst from trees, monkeys' alarm call, vibrations move through the ground in a rhythm your paws do not understand. Then humans arrive with machines that do not pass through the forest. They remove it. Trees fall. Underbrush vanishes. The cover that made you invisible becomes open dirt. Your paths end at stumps. Den sites collapse into broken branches. Hunting grounds turn into fields, roads, buildings, or industrial spaces that do not care how perfectly you evolve for thorn scrub. At first, you adjust. You shift routes, sleep in thinner cover, hunt closer to farms, and use narrow strips of vegetation between human spaces. But each season, the safe places shrink. Rodents move, birds leave, insects change, larger predators crowd into the same remaining patches, dogs patrol the edges, and poison appears near grain stores. And then there are roads. A road is a strange predator. It does not smell alive, stalk, or need hunger. It just lies black and hard through the landscape, crossed at night by fast white lights. You reach the edge. To your senses, it may seem like open ground, exposed, dangerous, but crossable. You wait, listen, and choose speed, the same tool that saved you from foxes. You run. But this enemy does not follow forest rules. It does not need to see clearly, does not need to chase, and may not even know you exist. The light arrives. The machine passes. The driver feels almost nothing. Maybe a bump, maybe not even that. A lifetime of perfect stealth fails against something too large to notice the small life it destroyed. Rain comes later and washes the road clean. The forest keeps making sounds. Machines keep moving. Somewhere else, another rusty-spotted cat slips under a fence to hunt mice. Another mother hides kittens in a rock crevice. Another young cat freezes as a fox passes nearby. The species continues, for now. But the numbers are not comforting. The rusty-spotted cat is listed as near threatened globally, and in some estimates, fewer than 10,000 mature individuals may remain, with no known local population exceeding 1,000 adults. That is the problem with invisible animals. They can disappear quietly. When a tiger vanishes, people notice. When an elephant is gone, the world pays attention. But when a rusty-spotted cat fades from the dark, the forest does not scream. It simply becomes a little less balanced, a little more overrun, and a little more broken. You spent your whole life surviving because you were small enough to be missed, small enough to slip under roots, hide between stones, hunt in grass, and vanish where larger predators could not reach. For millions of years, that strategy worked. Then the world changed size around you. And suddenly, being overlooked was no longer protection. It was the problem. And that is the cruel punchline of being invisible. Because how do you save an animal most people never see? How do you protect a predator that looks like a kitten? How do you convince the world that something this small still holds part of the forest together? You were never weak because you were small. You were small because it worked, until the forest stopped leaving room for tiny things.